Hello, dreamy people. Welcome back to The Haven. I'm here today with my good friend, Pamela R. Browne, to talk about her Power Up Life movement that focuses on igniting your personal power towards achieving greatness. Pamela is an impact leader, speaker, strategist, author, and the founder of Power Up Life Boss book series that strives to train and provide support to professionals. Her message focuses on leading from a platform of excellence to encourage, empower, equip, and elevate. So without further ado, joining me in welcoming my dear friend, Pamela to The Haven.
Hello.
I'm tired.
No worries.
Forgive me.
No worries.
So thank you, 100, for coming to The Haven.
Thank you
Finally.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
We got it together.
We got it
and
together.
And you're here.
We got it together. We're here.
I'm so happy. So this is your book. You got this. Now this is actually the journal for intentional living. And I know you're working on the book, but let's talk about how this came to be. What inspired you to put together this journal? And we'll talk a lot more in depth about the journal itself, but what inspired you to create it and publish it?
Wow. Well, again, thank you for having me and for the opportunity. You Got This came about after years and years and years of traveling our country and working with clinicians, in particular on teaching them and being a resource to them on how to work with their clients, how to work with their patients. And after a session, after a workshop, a seminar, I would always end it by telling them and encouraging them and saying, you got this. Meaning you can go out and serve the people that you're supposed to serve, the other clinicians, the other patients. But in that process, I also told them about the power of journaling. Journaling, writing your feelings, what's going on with you, especially because I said therapists need therapy and counselors need counseling. And one of the ways to channel those feelings in a healthy way is through journaling. So after a couple of sessions, I heard people say, you tell us to journal, but I don't have a journal.
You don't have one?
No, they would tell me that I would say at the end of a training, you know, talk about the power of journaling. But they would say, you tell us, talking about me, you tell us, you encourage us to journal, but I don't have a journal. Journaling's not cool. What is it about this journal? So that was part of the inspiration, like, how can I tell people to journal, but they don't have the tools and the instruments to do it? That was part of the inspiration of You Got This.
Wow. So I mean, it's a fact, and it's been studied that journaling and writing your feelings in terms of mental health is a very, very positive thing to do. It can 100% help you in whatever type of crises, or not even crises. It could just be you sharing your most intimate personal thoughts and writing it down, and writing it, kind of sorting through whatever it is that you're focusing on. So I mean, I know that there have been studies done about that. Talk more about that defining moment that happened in your life, that personal tragedy that happened in your life that further prompted you to put that thought of publishing this kind of book and the importance of it.
Yeah, I did have a personal tragedy with a coworker many years ago, and he was a psychologist. And he was the life of the office, the life of the party, and just very unassuming, and, you know, like I said, brought us so much joy. And so after coming back to work on a Monday after a long weekend, and I was like, well, where is he? And we shared office. We shared an office. So we really became like family because we were sharing that workspace. And I said, just assumed, I said, well, maybe he just took off a day, maybe sick. Tuesday comes, he doesn't show. I was like, now this is not like him, 2 days in a row. 3 days, I was like, still he's not in the office. So I remember later that day, on that Wednesday, I got some unfortunate news at the time from my supervisor that he had committed suicide. And when I tell you, it was like someone had literally punched a hole in my stomach, that pain. And I really had a hard time processing it. And he wasn't from this area. So it also entailed me being in contact with his family. He was from the Midwest. So I was tasked at that time to gather all of his personal belongings in the office in preparation to take back to his family. Going through his things, there was a small journal. Never saw it while we worked together. So then I was just like, let me see what he's got in here. And he had all kinds of things about the work that we did, things to do. He would even journal in one word, how he felt for the day, what was going on. But there, near the end of that journal, there was a note that said, we gotta have help for the helping professionals. We have to have help for the helping professionals. And that resonated with me because I thought about that. I said, we do need help as the helping professionals, but where do we get our help from? Because a lot of the work that we did was dealing with and addressing trauma every day. So where was our outlet beyond talking to your coworker where we could comfortably talk about it? Journaling. And so he modeled that, and I didn't even know he was journaling. And again, that even was part of the inspiration for the book.
So in the book itself, and it's from the Power Up Life Boss series, talk to us about what that is, what that means.
Well, Power Up Life Boss is the umbrella for the entire book series. So rather than calling it each, I said everything will fall under power, because that's what I'm looking at. Looking at what your internal power is. And I know a lot, like the trends are using the term empower, but I really believe that we all have our own innate sense of power. So it's a matter of igniting it, powering it up, you know, what you have, rather than looking at other places for your source. Take a look at what's going on inside, the internal, and let's reflect upon that. And then how do I make my power shine?
Wow. So in the workshops that you do, and I know that you've traveled and you've done a lot of workshops based on this premise. Just in a very basic way, tell our audience what the process is for doing that. I mean, conceptually, I could understand it, it resonates, but how does one actually take the steps to ignite the fire within, so to speak, to power up?
I think one thing that I have found over the years, Valerie, is people feeling comfortable with spending time with self. In our lives, we can be very busy with good things and with bad times, but we're so busy. But it was something when you take that time to reflect, to spend time with yourself. I do an exercise, it's called a SWOT exercise, SWOT. And the acronym stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, right? And so going through that SWOT exercise, even as a personal tool, helps you to focus on who? Me. Well, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What do I consider as an opportunity? And certainly, what are the threats that are going on around me? The research is absolutely phenomenal, because each time I do that exercise, I'll ask the audience, I'll say, which was the easiest category for you to complete? Many times, more hands are raised for, I can identify my strengths. Many people can go through that. But then when we start looking at, well, what are my weaknesses? And what is considered an opportunity in my life right now? And then threats, time, resources. Maybe I want to go back to school, things that could be threats. And so that's how that journal helps you to organize your thoughts. It helps you to plan. It helps you to have that outlet as well as that tool for preparation to grow forward. And notice I said grow forward, not go forward,
Right.
but to grow forward.
Right. So it basically facilitates that process
Absolutely.
of working through those things. And it takes a certain level of self-awareness to really be honest with yourself when you're jotting down those 4 categories of things, and really delving deep into yourself to really find those points. And so once you find those points, how do you use them in order to ignite, to empower yourself?
Well, I think one thing
Or should we
is
wait for
that-
the book?
Well, that is going to be expounding upon that. But when you have the journal, your journal becomes like your safe space,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It becomes that space that I may not have felt comfortable in saying something, but your journal is just that. It's your journal. It's your safe space. So when you look at it that way, you can put and write anything in your journal. But I do a lot of research on emotional intelligence. And when we were talking about the SWOT analysis, right? And looking at self. Well, the theory of emotional intelligence by psychologist Daniel Goleman is based upon 4 concepts. The one is self-awareness. Second is self-management. Third is social awareness. And the 4th is relationship management. And so when you look at that in the concept of emotional intelligence and you add journals and other tools in it, emotional intelligence is how you're thinking and how your mindset drives your attitude and your behavior. Well, if I have a tool like a journal that can help me to channel that, most likely I'm going to make wiser decisions. Most likely I'm going to spend time with myself to look at the pros and the cons of situations. Most likely I'm going to have, again, that safe space to even write out my plans. The power of journaling.
Wow. That's very, very interesting and amazing to really have a tool that you can use that will help others to focus on the things that I think are absolutely worth taking the time to do in your journey as a person, in your journey in life and the relationships that you touch. One other thing that you mentioned indirectly in terms of using writing as therapy, there's so many different ways of doing it. I actually was in a class that focused on journaling. Actually, my prior guest, Sandra Manigault, had turned me on to a writer who, I cannot remember her name, but very prominent writer. The Artist's Way is a concept and a theory that she introduced, I think maybe 25 years ago. But in that class, because I actually recently took the class that she had been telling me years and years and years and years ago you should read the book, you should take the class. So I took the class, and journal writing was a very, very big component of it. So flipping it back to where we are today in our discussion about journal writing, one of the things that I heard in our classes, because we were supposed to write every day, like you wake up and boom, you're vomiting on the page. And even if you didn't know what to write, you had to write something. And they said, if you don't know what to write, just write, I don't know what to write, and just keep writing that until something comes to your mind to write about. So having that as a potential challenge for people who may be in the workshop, who may be okay with the concept of it, but are having problems doing it, how do you address that?
Well, one thing I tell people is one of the best benefits of journaling is it's not scripted.
Right.
Meaning that you're not required to write 1 page, 2 page, whatever. I tell people, write from your soul. And if you spend time reflecting and writing from your soul, each day varies, each journal entry varies. It might be just 1 word across fabulous. It was just a great day. Then there might be that next entry that might be, you could spend 2, 3, 4 pages of just writing and writing, and like you said, vomiting, getting it out. But then it helps you again with your reflection and growing forward, because you can with that journal, you can look like, well, what was I thinking about in January of 2023? You've got your notes about yourself captured in that safe space. What was going on with me back in January? I was supposed to be spending time reflecting and getting new goals together, new year. Where am I now? We're going into the last quarter now in 2023. But it helps you to just, again, to look at yourself, to keep yourself on track. You know, and you could have regressed in some things, but then there are a lot of times when many people have progressed and gone forward, and then you can applaud yourself and say, hey, look where I was then, but here I am now.
Yes. So let's talk a bit about the book that you're writing. It's nonfiction, so it's a genre that I don't have many authors on to talk about, but a very important genre nonetheless. This is self-help, motivational, inspirational kind of writing. Talk to me a little bit about your process in delving into it.
Well, I think one of the things for me is my mindset. Creating that space for me to let those creative juices flow. I do my best near the water. Listening to the water, the waves, walking across the shoreline, in any time of the year, I can be there. I don't know what it is about that space, but that does it for me. So even if I physically can't be at Rehoboth Beach or Myrtle Beach, some of my favorites, now we have apps, right? So I can at least turn on the sound of the waves, of the raindrops and so forth, which again helps my mindset to get me into that place.
That's a very good point. I know some authors that create soundtracks based on whatever the theme is for what they're writing. I don't personally do it, but I'm fascinated by people who do. So if someone's doing a period piece, they'll find music from that period and they'll have that kind of playing in the background as they're writing, and it inspires their writing. And so it's just great to hear how different writers engage into that process. Now, would you say you're a person that outlines first and then you write to the outline, or do you just kind of you're inspired by the sounds and whatever you're feeling about in terms of writing at that time? Do you write linearly? Do you what is the process that you use to engage?
I don't think for everything that I write, even as I mentioned to you, I'm a student. Everything is it's just not scripted for me. It's not scripted. It's really what's going on with my mindset, and whatever it is that I'm writing about. So music is a great influence for me. So just cooling out and just saying, okay, so that influences my thoughts. But I have to have the journal because thoughts come to me quickly, and you know how it is. You could be at the red light. Oh my goodness, that's a great title for the book. Light changes green. Grab the journal, write that down. So then when I get home and get settled, I can go back now where I wrote it and revisit it. So again, the power of why we need journals.
That's 100% hear you. So some other writers that I've had on, and myself included, because I wrote 2 nonfiction books. Again, I'm very regimented in my writing, which is probably stressful to some people when you hear about it, because I do outline the hell out of my whatever it is I'm writing, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And then for the nonfiction stuff, I may have chapter 1 is about this, chapter 2 is about this. And whichever chapter I'm feeling, going back to what I was saying about, is part of your process just kind of whatever you're feeling at the time. For me, it's looking at the outline and say, okay, I can write to chapter 5. So I don't write linearly when I'm writing nonfiction. I do when I'm writing fiction. I feel like I have to, because I'm so anal about my fiction writing that I just want to make sure the consistency is there. Because I have been in a situation where I made a change maybe in chapter 13, but I had to go back to the prior chapters to make what I did in chapter 13 make sense. And that is stressful for me, because remember, I'm that very regimented.
Yes.
No surprises here, you know, just write it down, have the outline and write to it. Not a pantser at all, but I appreciate pansters and how they do it. I'm fascinated by them, and that's the beauty of writing.
Absolutely.
You know, it's however way it strikes you and hits you is the way to go. There's no right or wrong answer to it.
Look, we have such a long history, right? Even, you know, high school.
Yeah.
And I think about how we were even trained then as writers, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember, but everything was outlined. Ladies, get your outline together.
That's where I got it from.
So that's where we got it from. Everything had to have that outline. And I understand the rationale to help us, again, to organize our thoughts, to, you know, stick to the header or whatever that topic is. But I think now it's okay to give yourself the permission to say, if I want to skip 2 chapters and go to chapter 10, and then come back, oh, I need to make a, you know, a change in chapter 1, to have that flexibility to do so. Don't be so regimented in your writing that you don't give yourself that personal space to let whatever those creative juices flow the way they should.
Right. Where can people go to get more information about you and the movement, the You Got This Power Up Boss movement, Life Boss, Power Up Life Boss,
Power Up Life Boss
movement? Where can they go to get more information?
Well, they can go to my website, www.Pamela, P-A-M-E-L-A-R, Browne, B-R-O-W-N-E.com. I have to add that E.
Yes.
Because, of course, people are used to spelling it without, and they're like, oh, I can't reach you. Add the E.
Add the E.
Add the E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So people could go there to get more information. And do you have a timeline of when you think the book will come out?
Well, I'm working on it now, and my goal is to have the launch at the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
To kick off for Kick a Fresh January. Always, you know, represents new growth.
Yeah.
Going forward, letting go of the past, grabbing hold of the new. So that's my timing.
Okay. Shout out to Julia Cameron, who is the author of The Artist's Way, and also Elizabeth Ann Seton High School.
Elizabeth Ann Seton High School, home
which
of
is
the
where we
role
went to high
mothers.
school, right? Who taught us how to outline very, very well. And so, Dreamcatchers, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
Thank you for tuning in and being a big part of the Haven Circle. It is my hope that you are inspired in your writer's journey as we peel back the layers and get to the heart of this writer's game. I hope this season continues to inspire you to finish your book, your script, or at the very least helping you to lay down the tracks to complete it. And as always, you can stream us on any of our 9 streaming platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Spreaker, YouTube, and the #1 network on the continent, the American Legacy Network. For more information on where to tune into a podcast or a broadcast, visit our website at www.writershavenshow.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Author V. Helena, or on Facebook at V. Helena. Keep me posted on your progress, and perhaps I'll see you in the Haven. Now, I want to share some exciting news that many of you have already heard, but I want to make sure everybody get the deets. So here it is. The Haven is going international in a very, very big way. Phoenix Rising Entertainment has partnered with Virgin Voyages to host a writers and readers escape aboard the Scarlet Lady. I love, love, love that cruise line. It's an opportunity for writers to retreat into their work and for readers to hobnob with some of their favorite authors. and to also get information that they may want to hear about how to ignite their writer's journey or continue to grow in it. You'll find the details on our website at www.writershavenshow.com. So check it out, and I hope to see you there. SEA, see you there. So that's it for now, and until next time, catch fire on purpose.